So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to File, New Project, in case you open it up. And if you open it up from the Unity icon and you get this, you're in good shape. If you opened it up and you had another scene file, this is how you create a new project. We want the character controllers. And what I'm going to do at this folder, this point, is I'm going to go to Browse. I'm going to go to my student disk. And I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm just going to name it Monster, Ugly Monster Explore or something, because that's the game that we're making. And I'm going to select the folder, and then I'm going to create it. Now, what I'm going to also do is I'm going to grab my, in the student disk, I'm going to grab that monster folder here. If I hit M, you'll see we kind of shortcut to monster. This contains all of the project files, everything that we did up this point, our idle, our jump, our monster. Let me actually go ahead and delete this guy, I don't need that. Everything up to this point that we did through all of our tutorials. Now this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag this monster folder into Unity in a second. And that's where we're going to actually do our setup for our monster. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. Or actually, it looks like it opened. Now that we have both open, all I'm going to do is in the assets folder, I'm going to drag this monster into here. Now this could take a second for it to load everything. So I'm going to pause the video and wait till it finishes. Okay, so after I've dragged it in, you'll notice I get a pop-up about my normal map. It says it must be marked as a normal map. I'm going to hit Fix Now, and I'll let that do that. Now, I want to make sure that I'm doing good folder conventions, so I'm going to go to Create Folder, and I'm just going to name it PC for Playable Character, and I'm going to drag my monster in there, because he's going to be our playable character. Now, before we actually bring him into our game view, we're going to sort of set up something called a prefab. And what that prefab will do is it'll allow us to edit our monster or duplicate settings of our monster. So inside of monster here, you can see it brought in all my different states. So this is my run, my jump, all these other stuff. And also you'll notice here that it kind of loaded in the texture is a little funny, and we'll fix that too. So the first thing I'm going to do on each one is this is the monster, but I don't think this is my rig. I think that's my binary, and I believe this is the default monster. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and delete this guy for now. Yeah, that's the OBJ. I don't want the OBJ. Okay. So here's my regular monster. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a prefab. And I'm going to leave the word prefab in there, but I'm going to name it monster prefab. And on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my monster onto this monster prefab. And I'm going to drag him up into the hierarchy here. And that's going to bring him into my scene view. If I hit F, I can focus on him. This isn't my favorite view. You can keep it if you want. But if you'd like to switch views, you can do 4-way split, 2x3. And 2x3 is actually my favorite. I'm going to keep it at 2x3. So here is our scene view. So if I hit F, I can focus on my monster. You can see that his textures seem to be a little screwed up. And it doesn't seem that it's reading my diffuse all that well. So let's figure out what the problem is. At this point, I can actually edit this monster here, this monster prefab, and try to figure out what's going on with him. Like, it looks like we might have some sorting issues in his with his geometry. So let's go and go back to our PC folder, monster, and I'm going to select this particular monster here and hit open. And I'm going to let Maya open up, and we're going to take a look at some possible reasons why we're having some issues with this import. So what it did is it loaded in our monster character here. So let's take a look at a couple things. First, he's got a little bit of history here, so we're going to do edit, delete all by type, history. The next thing we want to do is just optimize our file. So I'm going to go to File, Optimize Scene Size, and just hit OK. The next thing I want to do is check for flipped faces. So I'm going to go to shading and turn on back face culling. And it doesn't look like there's any transparent faces. So I'm going to right click also. I'm going to go to vertex mode. Select all of my vertices. Let's just show none and then just show polys for now. I'm going to select all of my vertices. Shift right click. And I'm going to control. Oh, vertex normals. It is shift and right click. Set normals to face. Go back to my edge mode. Shift right click. Soften edge. Let's see if that makes a difference. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S, hit continue. When we jump back into Unity, you're going to notice that Unity is going to be thinking for a second because this is a direct link. We're actually opening the Maya file from Unity to edit. Let's give it a second to do that. Okay, let's hit F to focus in on our monster here. Or actually, we might have to re-update our monster prefab. So here's our monster prefab. I'm just going to drag my monster back on top of there. And that looks like it fixed the issue. Now it didn't do this for these other guys, and I don't know if I'm exactly concerned with that because we're really just going to be pulling animation data from it. So let's go ahead and set this guy up. On each one of these files, we want to go to Rig, change it from generic to legacy, and then hit apply. Now this is our original monster file here. Okay. The next thing with this guy is I'm not going to import any animations for him because he doesn't have any animations. He's just our initial guy. Now if I click on my idle state here and looks like it's processing, I can drag my idle down into the animations window and press play. You can see that it's actually playing our animation here. Our character's moving around. So let's take a look at how we can set this up. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to Rig, change it from generic to legacy, hit apply on that. Then we want to go to animations, bake animations, hit apply. Okay, so now if we press play here, you can see that we get a pretty nice animation. There's our idle state with our taunt. Let's go ahead and hook this up to our character here. And it looks like we still got a little bit of, you know what, it's okay, it's just the lighting. We can go to Game Object, Create Other, Directional Light here. I'm going to hit E and rotate this around. Yeah, that's not looking so bad. And actually, I kind of forgot. Let's talk a little bit about sort of how to zoom in and out of Unity. So with this, if you hit spacebar, you can zoom into the views, just like in Maya. If you hold Alt down and middle mouse, you can pan. The wheel scrolls in and out, and then you Alt and rotate. So it's just like Maya. I'm going to go ahead and turn on shadows on this because it's going to make our character look a lot cooler. Alright, now here's my monster prefab. And once I click on him, you'll notice he doesn't have any animations. So I'm going to change this to 1 and hit enter. And then I want his default animation to be that idle from my monster, which is right here. So now I'm going to hit spacebar here so you can see it. When I press play, notice that he's starting to play that animation with that taunt. And he just kind of cycles through that. Okay? So I'm going to uncheck play for a second. I actually want that to loop. So I'm going to go to that monster idle again, and I'm going to go to wrap mode, change it to loop, hit apply again. Now I'm going to do the next few with you, but then I'm just going to pause the video because it really does take a long time on my particular laptop to get it all sort of set up. So I'm going to go to monster jump, which is the next one. Notice how it says no model is available for preview. If I drag it in there and I press play, notice how there's no real animation movement. So same thing here. I'm going to go to Rig, change it to Legacy, hit apply. Go to animations, check on bake, hit apply. I'm going to leave wrap mode off because I don't necessarily need it to wrap mode. I want it to play all the way through. Here's my run, same thing. I'm going to turn on bake animation, and I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to go up to rig, change it from generic to legacy, hit apply. Lastly, I'm going to go to walk, under rig, change it to legacy, hit apply. Back over to animations, check on bake animation, hit apply. Now under wrap mode here for walk and run, I'm going to change it to loop because we do want the run and walk to be looping. So wrap mode, loop, apply, grab my run, same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to end this video here. In the next one, we're going to look at hooking up some scripts that allow us to get our character to run around our environment.